Good evening, Parkland. Today is December 3rd, 2021. I'm Chloe Chase. Welcome back to the third episode of Parkland Profile. As the holiday season is fully underway, what a great time to watch movies with your family and friends. News correspondent Vito Rosado brings us an overview of highly anticipated upcoming movies.
Now that we've entered the month of December, I'm sure that winter break is on most of our minds. While we hopefully enjoy our time off, most of us will need something to entertain ourselves in our newfound free time. So here's a list of movies coming out in December that you can either watch from the comfort of your own home or go to theaters to see. The Power of the Dog, which will release on theaters and on Netflix, is a Western drama about a domineering rancher who responds with mocking cruelty when his brother brings home a new wife and her son until the unexpected comes to pass. Single All the Way is a Netflix film where, desperate to avoid his family's judgment about being single, Peter persuades his best friend Nick to pose as his boyfriend on a trip home for the holidays. The Rescue, which will come to Disney Plus, is a documentary that chronicles the dramatic 2018 rescue of 12 Thai boys and their soccer coach trapped deep inside a flooded cave. Coming to theaters, West Side Story, which is an adaptation of the 1957 musical of the same name, has two teenagers from different ethnic backgrounds fall in love in the 1950s New York City. National Champions, which will come to theaters, is a sports drama that tells the story of what happened 3 days before the college football national championship game, where star quarterback LaMarcus James and teammate Emmett Sunday ignite a players' strike, declaring they won't compete until all student athletes are fairly compensated. With billions of dollars at risk and legacies on the line, the stakes couldn't be higher. Now, with only hours until kickoff, their head coach and various power brokers must race against the clock to protect or destroy the prevailing collegiate athletic system. The Unforgivable is a Netflix thriller that has the synopsis about a woman released from prison into a society that won't forgive her past. A woman seeks redemption by searching for the sister she left behind. Back to the Outback is an animated movie of animals that are tired of being locked in a reptile house where humans gawk at them like they're monsters. So a group of Australia's deadliest creatures plot a daring escape from the zoo. Shocking personal accusations, a political smear, and cultural taboos threaten the relationship between Hollywood power couple Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in this biodrama called Being the Ricardos. The Hand of God is a Netflix movie where, in the 1980s Naples, Italy, a young man experiences heartbreak and liberation after he's inadvertently saved from a freak accident by soccer legend Diego Maradona. Spider-Man No Way Home will release December 17th in theaters. This highly anticipated superhero action flick has Spider-Man's identity now revealed, so our friendly neighborhood web slinger is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life as Peter Parker from the high stakes of being a superhero. When Peter asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. Coming to Apple TV, Swan Song is about a loving husband and father diagnosed with a terminal illness that is presented with an alternative solution by his doctor to shield his family from grief. Nightmare Alley, which releases in theaters, takes place in 1940s New York City, where down on his luck Stanton Carlyle endears himself to a clairvoyant and her mentalist husband at a traveling carnival. Using newly acquired knowledge, Carlyle crafts a golden ticket to success by swindling the elite and wealthy. Hoping for a big score, he soon hatches a scheme to con a dangerous tycoon with help from a mysterious psychiatrist who might be his most formidable opponent yet. The King's Man, which will come to theaters, is about one man that must race against time to stop history's worst tyrants and criminal masterminds as they get together to plot a war that could wipe out millions of people and destroy humanity. In The Matrix Resurrections, which will release in theaters and on HBO Max, Neo is plagued by strange memories, and his life takes an unexpected turn when he finds himself back inside of the Matrix. Sing 2, which will release in theaters, has Can-Do Koala, Buster Moon, and his all-star cast of animal performers prepare to launch a dazzling stage extravaganza in the glittering entertainment capital of the world. There's just one hitch. He has to find and persuade the world's most reclusive rock star to join them. What begins as Buster's big dream of a big-time success soon becomes an emotional reminder of the power of music to heal even the most broken hearts. Releasing on Prime Video, The Tender Bar is a 2021 American coming-of-age drama film directed by George Clooney from a screenplay by William Monahan. The film is an adaptation of the 2005 memoir of the same name by J.R. Moehringer and recounts Moehringer's life growing up on Long Island. Licorice Pizza, which will release in theaters, is a 2021 American coming of age comedy drama film written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, in which Elena Kane and Gary Valentine grow up, run around, and fall in love in California's San Fernando Valley in the 1970s. Coming to Netflix, Don't Look Up has two low level astronomers that must go on a giant media tour to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy planet Earth. American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story, which will release in theaters, is the inspirational true story of Kurt Warner, who overcomes years of challenges and setbacks to become two time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, and Hall of Fame quarterback. Just when his dreams seem all out of reach, it's only the support of his wife, Brenda, and the encouragement of his family, coaches, and teammates that Warner perseveres and finds the strength to show the world the champion that he already is. A Journal for Jordan, which is based on the true events of First Sergeant Charles Monroe King, tells the story of a soldier deployed to Iraq who begins to keep a journal of love and advice for his infant son. And finally, coming to Apple TV, The Tragedy of Macbeth is a 2021 American drama film written and directed by Joel Cohen and based on the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare, in which the power hungry Macbeth sets his sights on the Scottish throne after receiving a prophecy from three witches.
Thanks, Vito. Speaking of highly anticipated news correspondent Ethan Silver is back with another tech news update.
Hey Parkland, I'm high school sophomore and diehard tech enthusiast Ethan Silver. This is November's Tech News. Our first story features an emerging technology that has the potential to change how we organize digital information, and it's using the most durable and unbreakable material we know: glass. Well, actually, the new technology is primarily an extreme long-term solution, as it can last up to 13.8 billion years and withstand temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees Celsius. The tech itself is nicknamed 5D storage and can theoretically allow humanity to store digital information reliably over generations. That way, when the aliens finally find Earth, they can laugh at some of the great memes you can find on the internet. The technology uses a laser to transfer data onto a CD-sized glass disc, which makes it much more reliable than hard drives. The only real downside to this tech so far is that it's really slow to actually write the information you're trying to store. But it's probably faster than Internet Explorer, so it won't be that bad after all. Over the past few months, Tesla has finally started rolling out its full self-driving beta. Yes, you heard that right. Select Tesla customers will have cars that have true autopilot functionality, with a few major caveats. The first and most obvious is that this is not the end-all be-all for self-driving. In fact, it's far from it. The technology still requires the driver to be at full attention with their hands ready at the wheel. And it's a beta. There are still a myriad of bugs and glitches, which is not an ideal thing to hear about something that's on the road interacting with other drivers. Plus, not just any random guy who purchased a Tesla can use this feature. Instead, only random guys with a safety score of 98 or higher can use the program. The safety score itself takes in a lot of your driving data and assesses all of your overall driving ability. Thought school was stressful enough? Well, now you're being graded on how you drive too. So if you're a Tesla owner that wants to try it out, give it a try. Have you ever wondered why your iPhone charger doesn't work with your Chromebook and your Chromebook charger doesn't work with your iPhone? Well, that's because Apple still uses their custom lightning cables instead of what the industry is moving towards, USB-C. A Swiss robotics student thought he can change that and engineered a way to put this USB-C port onto an iPhone. Then he turned around and sold the iPhone on eBay for $86,001. Wow, who knew that people just wanted a more convenient way to charge their device? Well, the move also reflects a larger movement by the European Union to standardize the USB port across every phone. But Apple is definitely putting up a fight. So if you have extra cash lying around and want a cool new phone, it'll only cost you $86,000. In other news, Instagram is offering up to $35,000 to creators that upload on their TikTok competitor, Instagram Reels. They're calling it their Creator Bonus Program, and give the bonuses to creators that meet a certain amount of views or plays for the month. The program is still in its early stages, and most creators are said to be getting much less than what the larger creators are being paid. It makes you wonder, how far will other companies go to take down the beloved social media app? In a dislikable move to some, YouTube is getting rid of the dislike button. Well, the dislike button is still going to be there, just not the dislike count. YouTube says it's to stop coordinated instances of people using the dislike button for harm and not feedback. However, many creators on the platform are speaking out against the change, saying it's important for the viewer to recognize whether a video is helpful based on the dislike count. It's also worth noting that the most disliked video on the platform is YouTube's own Rewind from 2018. Coincidence? And that's it for November's Tech News. We covered a new storage technology, Tesla's self-driving program, an $86,000 iPhone, and more. I'm Ethan Silver, and thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ethan. November was full of holidays and times to give back. Now over to Aurora Gary and Taryn Merrick, who will be giving us a recap on the Veterans Memorial Veterans Day celebration.
Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day.
Throughout this nation's history, American soldiers, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, men and women, have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never repay our debt of gratitude to the millions who were wounded or died in battle. We can, however, recognize the veterans still living today. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all of America's veterans, to let them know we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay it. Today, we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you to all the veterans who came to be honored today. We salute you. We hope you enjoy the songs our children sing for you today.
Thanks, Aurora and Taryn. Hopefully you had some time to catch up on the iconic Thanksgiving episodes from the show Friends. Now over to news correspondent Callie Seckler, who will be looking at the most iconic episodes.
No one can argue Friends was, and still is, one of the most influential shows ever made. The show became known for its annual Thanksgiving episodes, shedding light to the sometimes passed over holiday. Here's our ranking of the best classic Thanksgiving episodes on Friends. In last place is Season 2 episode, The One with the List. In this episode, the Thanksgiving holiday is more of a subplot, with the 6 friends not even eating a feast dinner. Instead, the episode focuses on the beginning of the series-long relationship between Ross and Rachel. In 9th place is Season 7 episode, The One Where Chandler Doesn't Like Dogs. Just like the title says, in the episode we find out Chandler has a dislike for dogs when Phoebe tries to bring puppy clunkers into the apartment. While the rest of the friends are trying to hide the pup from Chandler, we get the most compelling part when Ross declares to not eat a bite of dinner until he can name all 50 states, which was a much harder task than he expected. Like any other Friends episode, it's filled with jokes but lacks the lasting impression we get in earlier seasons. Coming in 8th place is the Season 9 episode, The One with Rachel's Other Sister. During this episode, we get a surprise visit from Rachel's sister Amy, with guest star Christina Applegate amazingly portraying family drama during the holidays. While watching the parade, Joey realizes he's supposed to be on a float. This sends him and Phoebe into a mess of trying to come up with a lie as to why he didn't show up. This performance won Christina Applegate an Emmy, but lost the top spot in our ranking. In 7th place is The One with the Late Thanksgiving. Like the previous two from Season 7 and 9, this Season 10 episode has the challenge of living up to the earlier season's classic episodes. Monica and Chandler have had enough after spending hours working on dinner just for none of the other friends to show up. Feeling unappreciated, Monica takes to locking the 4 others in the hallway without any food. Joey, being the food enthusiast that he is, wants dinner and tries to force his head into the apartment to apologize in exchange for it. He manages to get his head stuck, causing the others to force the door open, sending Joey straight into a table of food. The number 6th place goes to episode that started it all, Season 1, The One Where Underdog Gets Away. This episode portrays the theme of the show that even when things don't go to plan, your friends will always be there. The 6 friends all end up stuck together on Thanksgiving, even though they'd rather be somewhere else. Getting distracted by the underdog balloon flying through the air unleashed, they return to the apartment to discover they've been locked out. After managing to get back in, they find all their food burned and ruined. But at the end of the day, they still end up happy eating grilled cheese together. It's a good episode but gets outshined by the others on our list. 5th place is the Season 4 episode, The One with Chandler in a Box. This episode deals with the challenge of fighting with your best friend on Thanksgiving. Chandler kisses Joey's girlfriend and he says the only way to make it up to him is spending 6 hours in a box to think about what he's done. Hilarity ensues with Chandler making jokes from the box, Monica wearing an eye patch, and Ross and Rachel fighting about gifts. By the end of the episode, the duo makes up. In fourth place is Season 8, The One with the Rumor. This episode has Jennifer Aniston's husband at the time, Brad Pitt, playing the role of Monica's childhood friend, Will. Back in high school, Will and Ross started the I Hate Rachel Green Club, which Rachel didn't know about and is clearly angry about. It's made all the funnier by Phoebe continuously flirting with Will and the other friends doing their best to keep the peace. Top 3, we have Season 6, the one where Ross got high. So much happens in this episode, starting with Monica trying to tell her parents about her relationship with Chandler, which of course goes wrong, and she and Ross end up confessing more than their parents needed to know. The other conflict is Rachel making dessert. Due to some stuck-together pages, she accidentally makes a gross mixture of meat pie and trifle. Her friends, the loving people they are, try to lie to her and tell her how good her dessert is, leading to hilarious scenes of everyone trying to force the food into their mouths with a happy face. Joey's acting lessons really came in handy. Coming in second is Season 3, the one with the football. The only thing better than watching football on Thanksgiving is playing football on Thanksgiving. Well, maybe not with the Geller siblings. Monica and Ross get the 4 other friends to compete in the previously banned Geller Cup. From the trash talk to Phoebe trying to figure out what to do in a huddle, this episode is hilarious. The best part being Monica and Ross left outside clinging to the football for hours, missing dinner, trying to prove a winner. And finally, in first place is Season 5, the one with all the Thanksgivings. This classic episode makes the top of the list because of the memorability of it and the gags from start to finish. We get taken back in time to Thanksgivings of the past and see the friends as teenagers. From Monica cutting off Chandler's toe to Ross's loved crazed crush on Rachel, we also can't forget about Joey getting a turkey stuck on his head and needing Phoebe to pull it off. And of course, this episode ends with Monica putting a turkey on her head, causing Chandler to confess his love. Those were all 10 Friends Thanksgiving episodes ranked. I hope everyone had a Thanksgiving as good as these friends did. For Parkland TV and Film, I'm Callie Zeckler.
Thanks, Callie. We hope you all had a great time with your family and friends and some great food over Thanksgiving. Now over to Xander Blickley, Claudia Salvino, and myself, who will be comparing a traditional Thanksgiving dinner to a restaurant-style one.
Welcome to Cooking a Traditional Thanksgiving Meal
and comparing it to Boston markets.
Alright, we're gonna get started with our turkey stew. Now we're putting in some corn. Now some green beans.
Next up, we will be making boiled bread. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our bowl and we are going to put all of our ingredients in this bowl. And now, a half a cup of corn flour, 1/2 cup of cornmeal, some maple syrup for that good taste, whisking our boiled bread to get that good mixture. Yummy, no? Alright, we gotta make it more pasty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our boiled bread material here and we are going to make little patties. We got to do about 2 patties at a time. Just almost like a burger slider. That's about the size that you want for your patty.
We will be placing the grapes in to make our raisins. Now we're going to check on our grapes. Oh, they're done.
And now our stew is done. Look at that turkey stew. All right, so we finished both of our meals, and here is the reveal. All right, so we have both of our meals here, and we're gonna do our 3 rankings that we have for both of these meals. First up, accuracy. So accurately, we have our cornbread and cornbread. That's basically about it.
We have two choices of meat. We have our chicken and we have our venison. We do have this delicious stew too.
So good.
Yeah.
That was good as well.
All right. So next we're gonna be comparing on taste.
Yeah.
So what do you say we start with the meat?
All right.
Okay.
We start with the main course first.
Okay. Let's try the venison first.
The safest part. Yeah, you can do that.
It's really charred. Cooking it over a fire. I'm just gonna cut it outside. Hard to
Wow.
regulate the temperature.
Two at a time.
Cheers.
All right. So this side's got a really charred taste. For being over the fire.
Definitely lacking some flavor. It's pretty chewy.
I feel if Xander didn't drop the blood, it would have tasted a lot better. It could use more salt, but other than that, it's actually
It's not bad.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, for what the Pilgrims had, I mean, they didn't really have any seasoning. So, I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
We don't like crunchy.
Definitely a little chewy. But I don't hate it. Next, we're gonna compare our stew to our mac and cheese.
Surprisingly, this one smelled really good when we were cooking it.
Yeah.
It might be a bit undercooked. So cooked?
That one, yeah.
I'm pretty
I
good,
need like a little bit of everything.
dude. It's not bad. The broth is definitely lacking some flavor. I could use like a thicker broth, but I like it. I think it's good.
It's actually really good. I think
Yeah.
this might be one of the best.
Yeah, that's definitely
That's actually
good.
really good.
Yeah, for sure.
If I were a Pilgrim, I would
Yeah.
consider this a Boston must.
Yeah. I agree.
All right,
Alright,
now
mac
to the
and
Boston
cheese.
Market's mac and cheese.
That's good. I mean, that's
It's
good.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with mac and cheese.
It's got good flavor.
It's like buttery.
Yeah.
Tender. Kind of tastes like gravy.
I want some mac and cheese. All right, now we're going to be comparing our vegetables, which we have an assortment right here. We've got carrots, peas, and corn, and we've got gravy and mashed potatoes.
I mean, it's peas, carrots, and corn. Not much to it.
For our cornbread, this is probably the one that didn't come out the best.
It's boiled cornbread,
Boiled cornbread versus
which is challenging to do.
Boston Market cornbread.
Let's cut this in half, see if it's actually fully cooked. Oh, that is hard. Okay, there's dried fruit in here.
Get out of this.
Oh,
I can't even bite into it.
yeah.
The maple syrup actually added some taste for my first batch.
Definitely tops though.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Don't make boiled bread. I mean,
It's
if
not
you're
good.
good at. Okay. Okay, do it. Maybe
This is
do it.
good. I'm a fan. On to the last course, the dessert. We got dried grapes here. This is also raisins, but it just takes a while to cook them down.
It was like at least 4 hours.
Yeah.
As we get a fist, not a fistful.
I
It tastes like raisins.
It tastes like a raisin. Not much to it. Not bad. I mean,
I
mean-
love raisins.
It's a little side. This is what they had to eat for dessert.
yeah. Boston Market, it's got an apple pie, which
This looks good.
it looks good.
This
Yeah.
looks good.
All right.
I want some more chicken.
Really going at it.
Off good.
Oh my gosh. I love apple pie.
Boston Market, I think, probably topped in most of the areas.
But accuracy-wise, they did not do well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not super authentic. This is very
This
authentic.
is traditional. As you can see, we have grown away from our traditions as pilgrims back then. But, I mean, I'm okay with that because this is a lot better than this.
From a look standpoint, I mean, this is colorful. It's got all the colors. Got some vegetables in here. This has no vegetables.
As much as this is so good,
Yeah.
this looks cooler.
Yeah, that has there's no health in it.
A potato is a vegetable.
A potato's sort of a vegetable, but it's not necessarily good for you.
Thank you for watching on how to make an original Thanksgiving feast and us comparing it to the Boston market. So, tune in for our next Christmas episode.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Thanks, Xander and Claudia. That's all we have for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for next month's episode. I'm Chloe Chase, signing off.